Hello, my name is Laura. I'm a somatic coach and a trauma-informed yoga teacher, and I welcome you into this video where I'm going to share a little exploration, a somatic exploration, around fluidity and finding fluidity, circulation of blood, of breath, of energy into our body. So it's going to be interesting for you if maybe like me you have a headache at the moment. I'm having a headache and this is the trigger for this video because I thought, okay, I want to take care of my headache before it turns into a migraine, because that happens to me often. When I have a headache, it turns into a migraine. I want to take care of that before it turns into a migraine. And I noticed that I'm having constriction in my breath because of the headache, or because of the constriction I have a headache. And I thought it's a nice opportunity to explore something somatic that I really love, that is about blood and about heart and about lungs, okay? And I'm in a beautiful place, and this place is Chile, yeah, South America. I'm in the South Hemisphere, and so it's summer for me. I don't know when you watch this video where you find yourself. Maybe you're in a total different environment, but your environment matters a lot actually. So I would like to invite you to this practice around fluidity and circulation by becoming aware also of your surrounding, because there's a circulation of energy, of information between your surrounding and your own body. Yeah, it's all part of the same world, cosmic body. So let's start by becoming aware of what's surrounding us. Yeah, and if you find yourself in a space that doesn't make you feel a little bit at ease, to be more aware of what's around you, if your eyes cannot land on something that makes you feel a little bit comfortable, a little bit more rested, I would invite you to change place. If you can be outside, that's amazing. If you cannot, stay inside, but find a place or add something, or just open the curtains or close the door, anything that will allow you to land a little bit more. Because if we cannot land, anchor ourselves into our body and into this moment, into this place, we're going to hold ourselves up, and that's going to prevent us from finding the fluidity we want in our body and in our day. Yeah. So this might be an interesting practice for you if, like me, you feel some headache or sense of constriction in your body, in your breath, that you cannot take a beautiful breath, nourishing breath, or if you just find yourself a little bit rigid and comfortable, like lacking space in your own body. If you feel yourself a little bit small or tense in yourself, that might be an interesting practice for you. Yeah. And it's going to be a practice you can do sitting, lying down, or standing. Yeah, the movements are intuitive, the movements are your own. And this is just an exploration. I will give some guidance, and you explore that in your body and the way it manifests throughout movement or absence or very small movement. It's all up to your body, and there's no right or wrong in this practice, okay? So let's start. I will invite you to start wherever you want to be. If it's on your chair, it's great. If it's on your bed, that's great. If, like me, it's a yoga mat, that's great. Just go where you want to land. Yeah. And take a time to either close your eyes or look into the void on nothing specific, so that the gaze can be turned inward into your sensation and starting to connect with your body. And maybe you want to start to connect with what you're landing on. So maybe with the floor, but the sensation of the body resting on the floor, so the points of contact of the body with the floor. And notice what happens. Yeah, the moment you start to focus on that body part, or that surface of the body, or that contact with the ground, what happens next? Your informations are going to guide you throughout the whole session here, the whole exploration. So we start with that too. Yeah. You can look at the ground if that's helping you to land, and if that's helping you to land in your body too. So when I say to land, it's to release the body weight toward the floor, to release it to gravity, to your friend that is gravity, instead of trying to fight it and run away from it. We're letting ourselves go with gravity. And it can be a little bit of collapsing here in your body, that's okay. And notice what happens next when we start to let go of our body weight to gravity. Maybe we want to change posture, maybe we want to sit differently, hold ourselves differently. Touch more of the ground with different part of the body. Maybe we want to do that too. Take a moment, take your moment. Finding gravity throughout your body, in contact with the ground. Imagining that your body weight is a liquid weight and that you can diffuse it into the earth, like water running down and sinking into the earth. And if you can identify points of tension into your body, if they are very present to you, very obvious, you can imagine that body weight, that weight of the constriction liquefying and running down through the limbs of your body that are touching the earth and releasing themselves into the earth. If it's not happening right now, that's okay, because we have a whole exploration to do so. It's just landing on the ground, landing into ourselves, becoming aware of the body weight and accepting gravity to pull it toward the center of the earth. And maybe here your breath starts to release a little, maybe you had a big exhale already. If you haven't paid attention to your breath yet, I would invite you to pay attention to your breath now. Notice how it is, not trying to change anything. Okay, I still feel a lot of constriction in my breath. So we're just establishing our baseline. What are we starting with here? And the next invitation is to find a comfortable position, whether lying, sitting, or standing, so that you can stay in that position. Although if small movement happens, you can let them happen to you, but it will be a baseline position for more inquiry into this practice, into your body. To help ourselves anchor more, I'm going to invite you to look at your surroundings and make sure your eyes can rest on something beautiful that evokes maybe some sense of joy, some sense of lightness, something nice to look at, pleasant to look at. I have beautiful flowers, violet and yellow to look at. I have the green of the trees. There are many things so beautiful around me. I'm really blessed. I hope you have things you can look at and find blissful too, or comfortable. Maybe it's a color, maybe it's a shape, maybe it's a certain light texture. And if there's nothing with the eye that you can tap into, I would invite you to use touch and tap into your sense of touching. Maybe you'll be more receptive to touch. Touch something that you enjoy touching. Yeah, the texture would be enjoyable. For me, it's the grass. It could be your skin or the texture of your clothes. And tap into that sense. If you're with visual cues and you want to integrate touching cues, you can do both too, if that works for you. And if you find other cues, others, for example, smelling, if there's a smell, you can tap into the smelling sense. Any sense that helps you to enhance your sense of I'm landing into this moment. I'm allowing myself and my whole body to belong to this moment through my experience of the senses, through my connection with this moment, with this environment, space and time. I would invite you to stay with that experience and notice in your body where you notice there's an agreement to release yourself more to this space and time. Maybe the more I look at the yellow flower, the more I find a sense of expansion in my solar plexus for me. A sense of expansion that indicates me I'm agreeing to belong to this moment. And I'm anchoring myself more. And I know because of this sensation I'm feeling. Once you have the reference point that indicates you that there's an agreement more obvious to belong to this moment in your body, it's a sensation. I would invite you to see what happens next. I feel a whole opening through my back body, and that's interesting for me because it will have to do with the lungs too and the diaphragm. So I'm happy to notice that because it's going maybe to help me with breathing more fully, as I'm feeling my breath is very constricted at the moment. So notice how a sensation is connected to other parts of your body and can spread or tap into, connect to other body parts. See what happens to that sensation in your body. And maybe here you have movement that comes spontaneously. So imagine your sensation is like a wave and you want to surf on that wave. Yeah, so surfing will bring movement. You're surfing, meaning you're letting your body move with the wave of the sensation you're contemplating. And these waves, you've seen waves before, they're not linear waves, they are very circular. Yeah, there's a sense of circularity to the wave. They are not made of straight lines, that's what I mean. So movement that will appear as well are not made of straight lines. Yeah. Don't go into mechanistic movement, which we might be more familiar with. Let's let ourselves be like an octopus and let's let ourselves surf on those circular waves wherever they take us. And you might be in very small micro movement, meaning maybe someone looking at your body would not know that you're moving, but inside you know you are moving, and that's all that matters. You're finding your waves to surf on. Okay, it's like a little bit of, it's like warming up the body, or warming ourselves to the body, into the circular nature, fluid nature of the body. It's to surf on the waves that we find inside, that are waves that indicate us that we are allowing to belong to this moment, and that in this moment there's something enjoyable, there's something more pleasant to belong to. Waves of pleasantness, of joy. Okay. You can keep moving or start to turn down the volume of your movement and come back to your sense of breathing. Yeah, come back to the awareness of the breath. and check with your previous baseline. Where are you now? Is there still a sense of constriction, or however was your breath, is it still the same? Take a moment to check. Or has something changed? Yeah, I still feel a very big constriction in the front of my lungs, and the back of my lungs is more open now, but how is it for you? If you have a headache, that might be linked, yeah, your breath and maybe constriction in the lungs that bring constriction in the neck, and so less nourishment of the brain, too. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what's your headache about if you have one. Anyway, let's tap into our lungs, physical lungs. So, so let's take our hands and we'll examine the left lung to start with, upper lobe and lower lobe. So basically you want to put your hand right under your clavicle and sense through the upper lobe of the left lung. And then with another hand, you find your sternum, go to the end of it, xiphoid process it's called, anyway, to the bottom of the sternum. And then sense your ribs, the ribs that comes from the sternum and go to the left side of the rib cage, yeah. And then you cover those bottom ribs. And we're more tapping into the bottom lobe of the left lung. And here we're just going to listen a little bit to each of our lungs. So starting with the left, listening, relaxing your hands, relaxing your shoulders, sinking your elbows as much as you can. Imagine your arms being fluid too, so you can receive the information better into your hands. And the information is the breath, sensing the hands being pushed away from your body and then coming back, following the rhythm of your breathing. And often we receive more sensation in one hand compared to the other, yeah. So I will invite you to notice where you feel the most breath, into the upper hand or bottom hand, so into the upper part of the lobe of the lung or the lower lobe. And remove that hand so you can focus more on the other one. By the way, these explorations are coming from body-mind centering, yeah, the body-mind centering education. And especially, I love to learn with the founder, who's Bonnie Bainbridge Cohen. So these are all explorations that I'm directly taking from her, yeah. I want to be clear on that. I didn't invent anything. I'm just using her tools to take care of myself, and I'm sharing them because I really enjoy it. And integrating all of that into my own approach and trauma-informed approach too. Stay focused on your sensation. Maybe release your hands if that's comfortable, if it's okay for you to release now. And stay with the left lung and notice its movement. Imagine it's like a big sponge. Inhaling, getting bigger with oxygen. Exhaling, getting smaller. Yeah. And maybe here you find some waves, sensations, moving like waves. Awakening a little bit more your fluid body. I really love to call it the inner octopus. There's an inner octopus here. And maybe it's going to move your neck. We find fluidity here thanks to the breathing and movement of the lungs as we're breathing. every part of our body, every organ has a movement and engenders movement or radiates movement throughout the body. So we're tapping into the lung movement here. And see where it leads you, that left lung. See where the waves are taking you if you surf on it. If it's the first time you try an exercise like this, you might not feel anything and you're not doing anything wrong. You just needs, like anything else, more time to be familiar with that inquiry. Yeah, so it's fine. If you don't have any movement coming up, don't worry. Stay with your breath. Stay where you are. And if you have movement, maybe you have sound, and I would invite you to let yourself sound. Yeah, if your inner octopus wants to make sound, let it be wild. See where your movement is connecting to in your body. I see it radiating through my neck and at the same time through my tailbone. There's a radiation of the lung through the whole left side. Oh, that's so pleasant. Wherever you are, see if your sensation help you anchor. Keep anchoring, keep landing. And if there's anything that takes you away from landing, don't surf on that. Choose a focal point that will help you remain in your landing. That's the base. Yeah. And sometimes it's our thoughts that take us away from landing. Yeah, maybe you're judging yourself for what you're doing. That happens. It's okay. It's the practice of getting familiar with being in a state where there's no judgment toward ourselves. And allowing ourselves to be where we are and for things to be just as they are too. It's very important. Okay. After this exploration, let's compare left side, right side. It's very interesting to compare because it gives a moment to the brain to process the change. Yeah, and it actualizes in the nervous system the circuitry of what state we can cultivate in the body. And wow, for me, whole left side is much more fluid, and much more lands more on the floor, and right side is a little bit more constricted, more rigid, more sticky inside, and still is resisting to the ground. I can see the difference now. Checking with your breath compared to the previous baseline, to the first baseline. Is there a change in your breath now? Yeah. And then we're going to observe the right lung and its lobes. Yeah. So one hand under the clavicle, the collarbone, and the other hand on the ribs that are attached to the sternum, the last ribs. Relaxing your shoulders, sinking your elbows. Very light and gentle touch with your palms. Don't force your breath. It's a lot of wu-wei kind of state of being. So effortless effort, which could also be understood as no forced action, yeah? No unnatural energy, no unnatural force. Force is natural, but also sometimes we overdo it and it becomes unnatural. So we're looking at the unforced force. The natural way, the natural flow, natural touch, natural force, natural action, natural breath. So notice which hand receives the most breath, the most information, which lobe of your right lung breathe more easily. And remove another hand so you can focus on the other. When you're ready. Keep not forcing your breath. If you meet constriction and it annoys you, just notice that you're annoyed and come back to your sensation. Don't interact, don't surf on that wave of being annoyed or whatever is happening and disturbs you from your somatic experience. Don't surf on that wave. Choose to focalize your attention on your sensation. Come back to landing, to what's comfortable, easy. If that's good for you, can you remove the other hand, but stay focused on the right lung. Stay with your breath, and the lung is a sponge. You can imagine the lung getting bigger, much bigger than it is in reality, and then smaller. Whatever works for you, so that you stay with the breathing and tap more into the movement of your right lung. And also, if I have to mention, so I've mentioned about body-mind centering, and it's important to mention I'm not a body-mind centering teacher, so that's not what I'm teaching. I'm sharing, integrating those tools into a somatic inquiry, more general and trauma-informed, yeah, into somatic exploration. But I'm not a teacher of body-mind centering. Maybe in the future. Not yet. At this stage, maybe you find movement out of your lung. Maybe there's waves of sensation going into your throat, into your neck or jaw, all the way down into your pelvis, maybe into the right hip. Don't force it again. You're surfing. You're just surfing. You're not making the wave. You're not creating the wave. You're following it. And if you don't feel any wave, you stay where you are, because where you are is great. Because that's where you are. Yeah, and we want to be found where we are. Yeah. I hope you can hear there's some sound from the neighbors. Stay focused on your sensations. Surf, if there's anything to surf on that. Or maybe you stay longer with the listening of your lobes. And when you're ready, come back to a baseline position so you can compare right side, left side. How does it feel now? Any change? And compare with your previous first breath. Yeah. How does your breath feel now? Let's take a moment to place our right hand over our heart. So we want to place the root of the thumb on the sternum and the fingertips going towards the collarbone, left collarbone. Yeah. And then you can make a fist with your hand. And that's approximately where your heart is in your chest. Yeah, kind of. It's where it is. Maybe you're one of the few person that it's inverted, and so it's your left hand and it's the right side. Most of the people, I believe, it's on the left side. Yeah. So let's just notice where is the heart geographically in our body with the hands. It helps to notice, to be more conscious of this part. So go into your chest. You can make, so untie the fist and lay your hand flat on your chest if it helps to connect with the heartbeat, the music of the heart. It's beats like a drum. And we're going to look a little bit more into the relationships between the lungs and the heart. Locate your heart first. Stay with it. If you're not too sure, just stay with an image of your heart into your chest, knowing that the heart is being hugged by the two lungs in your chest. It's constantly, the lungs are constantly hugging your heart. It's beautiful, isn't it? Imagine you could rest your heart. Rest your heart into the embrace of the lungs. There's really a lot of noise on my side, so I hope you can stay focused on your experience and not be too troubled if you can hear that sound in the video. Stay with your heart, and you know your heart is resting into the lungs, I would say, when you sense a softening, maybe across the arms. Maybe it's somewhere else for you. For me, it's really across the arms. If there's a small movement coming, let it come. Let it move you. Stay with your attention into the heart, and we're going to open our hands in front of us like we're holding a bubble, and we imagine it's our breath. As we inhale, the hands are being pushed away from each other, the lungs are getting bigger. Exhale, they're coming back toward each other like a ball of chi, of energy. Inhale, lungs filling themselves with breath, oxygen. Exhale, releasing the gas through your nostrils. Inhale. Exhaling. Inhale. Exhale, like the lungs massaging the heart in a way, dancing with the heart, because the heart as well is moving, having a movement. I'm not going to say to pump the blood, because the heart is not a pump. It's vortexing the blood, spinning the blood, let's say. So it has a movement from chambers to chamber. Anyway, being with the dance between lungs and heart. Expansion in breath, condensation out breath. See if you can soften your arms to the point that it's now the lungs movement that is informing your hands. You're not making the movement, it's the lungs informing the hands moving, how to move. So you find expansion across your arms and maybe some other parts of your body, and a condensation as the lungs are exhaling. So somatic practice is being guided by the body, yeah, by the waves of sensation rather than mental representation of what we should be doing. You can let the movement go into other movements and leave the ball of chi. And you can stay here or open your eyes or open one of your senses and focus on something you would like to welcome in your lungs. Yeah, that oxygen coming into the lung. Maybe you want to attach something to it, some positive energy, something beautiful. Yeah, so I'm going to, for example, breathe with the yellow and violet flowers. I'm breathing with them. You can breathe with your sensation from the hands, for example. Breathing with the softness of what you're touching. Imagining that you could instill that quality into the oxygen you're breathing in. And that your lung is going to transmit that oxygen with that instilled quality to the blood that will be going to your heart. Yeah, because there's a circuitry connecting the heart with the lungs, obviously, sending the blood that needs oxygen from the heart to the lungs, and the lungs sending back the blood rich in oxygen now. Yeah, there's a circuitry like that, and then from the heart to the rest of the body, and from the body to the heart. Everything is circular, so let's try to find that circularity within ourselves. Breathing in a beautiful air with the plants, with the sensation, with the smell, sending that oxygen into the blood that will go and nourish the heart first, and then the heart will spread it to the rest of your body. We'll take the blood that does not have the oxygen anymore, send it back to the heart, back to the lungs, and everything being processed that way. Yeah. So you have a schematic idea, maybe you knew already, just as a recap, what's happening in our body. And let's try to focus on that circulation from the environment to our lungs, to the blood, through the heart, toward the rest of the body, and back, rest of the body coming, the blood coming back to the heart to be enriched again, going into the lungs, nourishing the heart, the body, etc. Yeah, let yourself be moved here with those images, with your sensations, with what you want to bring from your senses and your environment into yourself. If that's too much to focus on, stay with lung and heart connection. Or imagine, be with the blood that comes from the heart when it's oxygenated. Go nourish the neck, for example, and then the movement back to the heart from the neck. And into the lungs, and into the heart, and into the neck. Or any other circuitry, imagine. And keep sensing what you're sensing. And serve on those waves. Yeah, so now, maybe like me, you want to do bigger movement, go for it. Surfing on blood. Keep cultivating circular flow, circulation, so not forced. Nothing is forced here. If you feel yourself tensing your muscle, just be aware that tensing your muscle is going to shut down blood flow. So that's not what we want. We want to stay soft And soft doesn't mean weak. Softness is strength. You can be soft but have a certain tone. And tone is good. Yeah. Anyway, explore. The fluidity of your octopus body. Maybe you want to change position, go for it. If you want to add one quality for the blood, it's just the awareness that the blood moves as a vortex. Yeah, moves in spirals into the blood vessels. So there's really no linear action here. No mechanic movement. We're unfolding ourselves along circular shapes. Trying to find that across your movement, across your body. And again, if your octopus wants to make sound, let it be wild. If you had a headache, I would invite you to be where you are, but also with awareness of your neck. Awareness of your rib cage to find elasticity there, fluidity, with the support of the lungs, and nourishment through the rib cage with the blood all the way into the neck, the throat. So maybe we nourish a little bit more the muscles of the neck too. And maybe that refreshes the brain as well. Well, the blood doesn't go into the brain, but the muscles are maybe less tense. And maybe that's what we need to. Because tension in headaches also consequences of tension in the jaw, yeah, and we have strong muscles there, so maybe that's what we want to do, is to nourish our muscles in our jaw. We can touch that part. You can touch any part of the body to encourage nourishment from the blood, the oxygenated blood with the quality you want to give it from the outside, from your environment. Find circulation, finding space into your own body. Dancing with your senses. Oh. Moving any way you want. Maybe you're still lying down and that's great. Maybe you want to lie down. Be where you are. Follow genuinely, authentically your sensations. Surf on those waves. Mm. Ah. Mm. Mm. See that surfing on your blood, being with your blood, helps you maybe to be with more of yourself, to find more space in your body. Because blood is flowing everywhere, yeah? So it's tracing, expanding your body map. You can establish your presence into more part of yourself and maybe find more space again. Okay. I'm going to invite you to either continue with your movement or bring this session to a close, because I want to change location now. Too much sun for me. So I'm going to close this and continue practicing with myself. When you're ready to close this exploration, come back to a baseline position and come back to your breath, comparing how your body is now, how your tension feels compared to when you started. Notice every shift that might have happened now into your thoughts, into your emotions, into your physicality. And if movement keeps on going, keep the movement going, it's fine. Maybe it's a little bit of rippling waves. These are great, take them into your day. I hope you had a great time. Let me know in the comments if you feel more circulation in you, more energy, or just more space, and how it affected you. I'm always curious to know. Thank you for joining this practice, and see you for the next one.